Everybody, Andy here again. Day 15, it's Wednesday, which used to be known as Hump Day, I know, especially in America, because it was that sort of that plateau, or that you go over the rise and then the weekend is quite close. But obviously weekends for most of us now, or a lot of us, have taken on a completely different meaning. They have no meaning, basically, and we're coming up to the Easter weekend. As usual, I shall put the current daily UK figures down below there, and a bit of a rise in the amount of deaths, unfortunately. I think that they explain that away as though, as I said before, these come in gradually, and it's all the amount of deaths, unfortunately, that happened over the previous weekend. And as they keep stressing, these are the amount of deaths that have happened in hospital. And I think because there was two figures I saw yesterday. I think that the accurate one was 786 deaths, but as I said, I should put that down there. The daily album for yesterday was For Your Pleasure by Roxy Music, which came out in 1973, and I actually listened to that on vinyl. Anyone who saw one of my earlier videos, I actually showed the cover of that, and I thought, I'm going to put that on. And it was great, actually, to listen to something like that and go back in time, because I mean the album came out in 1973, as I said. I actually bought it in 1974, if you remember the story I told in the previous video. And listening to it, it sounded really good. I mean, and there's a few crackles and that sort of stuff, but I'm just thinking, have I got anything else in my possession that I've owned for 46 years, which is how long I've owned that album, that is still in a very good condition? Do you know what I mean? And it's because you treasure this. Funny, I mentioned the other day, because this is what I'm going to be talking about in a minute, but I mentioned the other day about this particular book, David Hepburner's book, A Fabulous Creation, sort of how the LP saved our lives. And it's made me go back, because what he was talking about was basically the classic vinyl years for albums, the two sides, the 40 minutes generally, and all that sort of stuff. Excellent book, especially if you're a bit of a music nerd like I am. But he goes into that, and it sort of got me thinking about listening to vinyl again, apart from listening to all the CDs that I mentioned. But I'll come to that. Change the subject. Sorry. What's going on? Boris is still in hospital. Boris Johnson's still in hospital. He's still in intensive care. Apparently, he's not getting any worse, which is good. He's stable, which is good to know. But ironically, we just received this. That all homes in the UK will receive one of these letters, which was written probably a week or so ago now from Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister, and obviously before he contracted the virus. But it's all about the actual, obviously what's going on, the situation that we're in, and asking everyone to do the right thing. But it comes with this particular booklet telling you everything that you need to know. I wonder if any other country has got this type of thing. But one of the good things, it does actually put in here the stay-at-home bit. You can see the stay-at-home bit. It actually clarifies all of those conditions, advice, call it whatever you want, about our current state of the lockdown, the semi-lockdown, for those who are in Europe and they've got a real lockdown. But at least it clarifies it. So now we do know, people can't argue, the police force know exactly what it means, we know what it means once you've read that, so that at least you know where you stand now, and yes, where we are in this, who knows. But what I wanted to talk about today was actually books. As you can see, I'm a bit of a reader, yes, and this particular time does give a lot of people, not everybody, which is something I should talk about another day, not everybody's in the situation where they've got more time on their hands, they've been furloughed, or just generally sitting at home within their four walls, and they've got time to do things. I've always been a big reader. I mean, some of these books that you can see up here, as you can see, these are quite old ones. These are from like the 70s and the 80s and things like that as well. But one of the things that happened is because there are certain books, especially at the moment, which have really resonated with certain people, and this is one of them. There you go, The Stand by Stephen King. I read this years ago. Funny enough, I picked this up in the charity shop. I started thinking about it, partly because I was hoping to go to America next year. Who knows what's going to happen with that idea now? And I remember it as being like a real American novel and all that sort of stuff. I thought, I'll find that again, because I couldn't find my original copy. So I managed to find it quite coincidentally in a charity shop about a month or so ago now, before all this virus started up. And from that, anybody who's read that, the sort of Dr. Trips virus and everything that goes, it's not, obviously it's far worse than what the coronavirus is, but it does tell you a bit about how society can break down and all those type of things, and it taps into something. Let's put it. And he's a very good writer. I know some people might not like him, but I think he's a very good writer. Other books that have come along and I'm going to get this guy's name right, Albert Camus or Camus, I don't know how you pronounce it. His book, The Plague, which was set in Algeria, I think in the, well, I'm not sure, it's in the sort of 60s, I think, but it's about a sort of a virus or an infection that happens in that particular town in French Algeria. It's meant to be a bit of a metaphor or whatever for the Nazi occupation of France, I think. But apparently, Penguin Books over here in the UK have had to reprint the book because it's become so popular because people have started buying it. Another book I mentioned a while ago was The Journal of the Plague Year by Daniel Defoe, which was set in the plague times 1665. That's another one of those books that's suddenly taken off and everyone's buying it for online probably. It's amazing how these things happen. But as I said, I've been a big reader, and it's one of those times it can allow you to get into different books. And I thought I'd start, I'm doing the daily album, so I thought I'd start putting down here the books that I'm reading at the moment. As I said, I've just finished the David Hepworth one about the LPs, but this is what I'm reading at the moment. Guy called Ian Rankin, Scottish novelist, sets all of his, or just about all of his novels in Edinburgh, in Scotland, all about John Rebus, the detective. And he's such a good writer. He's written over 20 of those books, and I've read every single one apart from this one. This is one of the earlier ones. I found this not long ago, and I've been trying to read all of them. He's so easy to read. They're very, very good books. Obviously, all follow on from them. And he's just completed a new one, which is coming out, I believe, in October. I follow him on Twitter, and he put the title of the new book up. I can't remember what it is. I should have researched this. But yes, so I've got a pile. You can't see it, but there's a pile down there of books that need to be read. So I'm interested if you're you've got the time. Maybe you're a reader anyway. But if you are, let me know what you're reading. Are you reading one of these, The Stand or something like this? I saw actually, I think it was Tim over there in North Carolina was listening to a book tape of The Stand. One of the reasons that prompted me to do this video. So, get in there, something to do. You can escape. It's like music. You can escape into music. You can escape into a book. It takes you into a completely different world, whether it be a fiction book, whether it be non-fiction. I read lots of non-fiction, sort of history and travel and all that sort of stuff as well. So a bit of as you can see, with the travel books up here from, like quite interested reading them, the places that we've been to or places that we're hoping to go to. So let me know, if you're a reader, let me know what you're reading. Let me know what your favourite books are. Maybe you're going to revisit them, because that's actually something I did. One of these up here is a lot of these are Graham Greene, a British author from 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. Sadly died in the 80s. But I reread one of his books the other day, Travels with My Aunt, and it's good to revisit some of those. And one of the things I will say, all of those books are all about 250 pages long, something like that. This one is about 1,200 pages long, and even this one. I mean, back in the day, they used to be able to, all of these books and some of these up here as well. That time, 50s, 60s, even the 70s, the books were all about 250, 300 pages long, maximum, unless you're Charles Dickens or someone like that. But there's a reason why his books were that long, but that's another story. But now, books, they're all 400 pages, 500, 600, 700, 1,200. So whether the writers were better, I don't know. Maybe that's an argument. But anyway, I shall leave it there. I shall speak to you tomorrow. Stay strong, stay safe, and hopefully, as I said, I'll just speak to you tomorrow. Goodbye.